Shalom again from Jerusalem. Welcome to Watchmen Talk, a series of conversations with Israeli military, intelligence, security, and diplomatic experts and practitioners. And our guest for the second part of a conversation is retired General Yom-Tov Tamir, a former armor formations commander, leading troops from platoon all the way to division, and then serving in other top positions in the Israeli Defense Forces. So, General Tamir, we stopped our earlier conversation when you were wounded in the 1967 Yom Kippur War. You were evacuated. You spent a lot of time at hospital, but nevertheless, you decided to stay on as a career officer. Why?
I thought that it's important. It looked very banal. But in that time, I thought that as far as I can, I will do something for the country. And I thought that, I think, even now, that my place is that in the armed forces.
And you saw yourself in it for the long haul?
No. It goes step by step. I thought that maybe after 67 war, that I was a company commander, maybe I will stay till battalion commander. And the time goes, and all this.
So your first position was as an instructor in the armor school for new tank leaders and officers, wasn't it?
Officers. As a company of training the cadets to become a platoon leader, and
And this was the age group most badly hit later in the 1973 war.
That's right.
Many of your trainees, your cadets, were killed or wounded.
That's right. When I finished that job, about 1.5 years or almost 2 years, and in that time started the war of attrition. And the plan was that I am going to the university. And when I finished the job, and it was planned that in next week I will be in the university, learn geology. And some of them say that we will postpone it. We need you in the attrition war, and they sent me to the brigade on the Suez Canal as the G3 of brigade.
The executive or operations officer of a brigade.
Of a brigade. Because he was wounded in one of the clashes there.
Now, this was the first regular division of the Israeli armed forces commanded by a major general, because up until the time, only reserve generals or generals on the general staff who had as a secondary mission leading division.
Yeah.
But why armor? You were not used in a typical fashion for tanks.
Because the area is very, very large one.
A desert.
Desert and very large. The Suez Canal, for example, the length is about 170 kilometers. And I'm not speaking also the south side of Sinai. So the thought, I think, at that time, that if we will have some armor units, and they can maneuver from place to place, we can hold this area for the time being. Till something will happen, maybe we have some peace.
But this is against the doctrine which proved so successful in the 1967 war.
In the attack.
Of not only attack, but concentrating armor as an iron fist, not separating it, dispersing it to small platoons.
You're right. Exactly. I think that that this deployment in the attrition war was one of the weakest points that appeared later in 73 war, because to hold this or to defend this area in so-called peacetime, not peace, but not war. You have to separate all the units. And this is against the doctrine, which was right, that the armor can fulfill their mission in the best way is that to have them concentrate and not separate.
But there was something more than doctrine. There was this complacent feeling, especially in the Israeli military high command and in the government, that you, the IDF, that your people are so much better than the Egyptians and others, that the ratio of forces is less important, that a few of your tanks could easily repel an invasion.
Yeah, you're right. I think that it's learning the lessons from the war not in the right way. You have to always if you have some clashes with the enemy, you have to think that if you are improving yourself, also the other side will not staying.
It's a race.
It's a race, and you have always to think that he will be the better than he was in that clash. So,
especially as you are now fighting on his soil, which he wants back.
That's right. It's very difficult to go inside the mind of the other side. But this is the right way to do it. Not to think what you are thinking about him, but you think, what do you think that he will think about you?
So on the eve of the Yom Kippur War, you are in charge of a battalion in the northern sector of the Suez Canal. You invite the parents of your troops to have a field day to see their sons. There were no daughters except for the secretaries, to see the Suez Canal. And what was the impression they came out with, the parents?
The reason that we invited them, that they will have some ideas what their sons are doing there, and that you'll have the back at home. They will feel that they are doing something very important, and they can sleep better, that everything is under control. And I have also the document that I read my speech.
That you are responsible.
That I am responsible to them. Some of them, who their son
never forgave you.
Never forget, and they said, "But you promised." And some of them later their sons told me. Some of them say that his mother said, "Don't sleep."
So this particular soldier, Danny Herring,
yes,
his parents were in World War II, in Denmark in this case, and they knew that war is not a game.
No, that's right.
So what happened on the very last week and days before the war started? Was there no warning for you? We're not talking about Tel Aviv, the headquarters, the intelligence branch, but you, people in the field, those who are going to absorb the first blow. What did you know?
Not much, because my battalion, not like the others, tank battalion from my brigade, who were deployed in the central and the south sector of Suez Canal, I was not responsible to the sector. Only if something will happen, I will come in action.
The particular terrain there is different because of swamps.
Terrain, there is a territorial brigade in that side.
The proximity of Port Said.
That's right, and swamp and many. And so it was a infantry battalion who was responsible for the day-by-day activities. And if something will happen, I will go and inside and have half of the sector under my control. Only one platoon from my battalion was in the northern strong point of the Suez Canal. And so about, but I heard from some others from the brigade that they have some reports. That
so it's rumors, gossip, not orders.
Not orders. On Friday, early morning, somebody called me that they found some tracks of two infiltrators that were very close to one of my company, and I went there. We went after these tracks, and the tracks were leading to south to the other sector, and I left it. So, and the other battalion continues. I forgot it. Some time during the war, I asked myself, well, what happened with these tracks? And I thought that maybe, I was sure that somebody caught them.
Interrogated them
after the war started. After many years, a friend of mine from my class who was in one of the
intelligence.
Ronnie
McLeod.
Not Ronnie, Eitan was in the intelligence in the...
Ronnie McLeod was a Mossad
and Eitan was in the Shabak. And he wrote
an article
about these two officers, who were caught in the noon, in Friday, about 12 or 1 o'clock. They were interrogated, and they told that the war will start tomorrow, 2 o'clock.
How come do you think they knew? If you send intelligence agents to the enemy's rear, do you expect them to know the operational plan?
No, I don't think that it's correct, all of it. Maybe
it's a legend.
The legend. But somehow this infiltration was something unique. And they knew much more than regular soldiers.
There was another incident which could have made all the difference, where there was a sortie, one of the Egyptian MiG planes penetrated.
Again, in our sector.
In your sector, the Hawk battery tried to shoot it down. It failed.
That's right.
Obviously, had it been an intercept, the tension would have risen and everyone would have been on alert.
That's right. Now, I am reading I read many years later the protocol in a meeting, and the chief of the South Command, General Gonen, Friday afternoon. And I thought in the protocol that they gave him a note about these two that were found. I said, okay, continue to ask them. Didn't alert some bulb in his mind. And later also about this MiG, and he began to ask where it is. Okay, continue to work. Carry on. And I thought, what he's doing in that time? He asking about many storage and what happened with the driver and so nonsense. Instead of maybe ask himself.
But this was the frightening brigade commander of your youth when you were a company commander.
That's right.
He was your commanding officer, and everyone was afraid of him because he was a very strict disciplinarian.
That's right. We had a very good relationship, by the way. He also convinced me to sign to continue to be in the IDF, and also he promised me that I will learn in high school and university and so on and so on. But somehow I remember when I was a company commander or junior officer, when he was the brigade commander, you know, everything time that we had some alert, immediately he made all the unit as kind of a spring that's have to work immediately. And now, in the crucial...
As a major general.
As a major general, in a crucial point, I'm sure that he admired the chief of the intelligence, General Zeira, so much that when General Zeira said it's nothing, he believed it. I think this is the
So your battalion, the 9th battalion.
No, this is one of the story. Another one is that in Saturday morning, the commander of one of the strong point in front of the Kantara town called me and said, "You have to come and to watch something has changed in the area. At night, they put something very strange in front of us." And asked me, "Why you are calling me? I'm not your commander. I will be your commander if something will happen." He said, "No, none of the officers that I called them."
Because it was Yom Kippur.
No, they didn't want to go. I said, "Okay, if you are so, I will
concerned.
come." Concerned, I come. So I went with my operation officer. We went there.
So it's what, almost an hour drive?
With the jeep, almost an hour, 40 minutes, let's say.
So you have to go and then come back? It's a lot of time.
Yeah, so I went there, and we were standing on the Suez Canal, watching the other side. It's 200 meters. And we saw the Egyptian soldiers going, you know, all over the world. If something will happen, there is kind of readiness. You see a steel helmet and the fatigues and the guns and so on. Nothing. They were without.
So for them it was ostensibly a regular Saturday morning,
yes.
Casual.
Some of them were fishing in the Suez Canal. That's right.
But you didn't realize that you were the fish.
That's right. And that time I didn't. But later I asked, it appeared in my book, I asked the general who was the Egyptian military attaché when I was in London. We became friends, and he was the commander of the bridging battalion in front of me. And asked me how it happened. He said this was one of the intercepting, you know, that
the deception.
The deception. We didn't tell them, this soldier. We crossed not with the first echelon. The soldiers who crossed were from behind. And they were told only half an hour before the war that it war.
So if you want to deceive your enemy, you must deceive your own soldiers first.
That's right. Because if you want to have the decision picture that you want to. So this is the atmosphere, the state of mind.
Now, the war starts, and you had many casualties and many battles from which you barely survived, you and several of your men, and you had many casualties and then many decorations for heroics. But this is probably the most impressive event, the one that left the most impression in your mind throughout your career, wasn't it?
That's right. You know, a tank battalion is a very small unit, 36 tanks. Each of the tanks are 4 soldiers.
Some officers.
I lost all my company commanders, most of my junior officers.
Platoon leaders.
And some were wounded, most of them dead. And
and many crew members.
Many crew members.
But it is typical. We knew it from World War I too, from the British Army and others, that the junior officers, the second lieutenants, the captains, sometimes the lieutenant colonels or the majors, they pay the heaviest price.
That's right. Especially in the IDF, which we have the slogan that behind me.
Follow me.
Follow me. So follow me. Follow me. It's something. It's very important. Now, follow me. It's in the platoon level and the company level till the battalion level, and so losing 67 soldiers, most of them in one day, and most of my junior commanders, some of the tank commanders, sergeants, and so on. And on the end of the day, I remained with 2 tanks out of the 36. It was a question what to do. And in that time, in this position, I thought that the nothing is between our troops and Tel Aviv. The reserve units became only one day later. I thought that the best way is to join some other units. It doesn't matter what you are doing, but to join them and to fight with them what is needed. So, and the brigade commander who came as a reinforce to our soldier lost his operational officer in this area, in the Cantor. And he asked me, he said, there is no battalion now. Can you come and replace him?
So it's actually one rank lower. It's a major rather than a lieutenant colonel,
right.
But this was no time for such
time, and I thought if he asking me, I know the area, very complicated terrain, and so let's do it. And with the remained soldiers, we joined this brigade in different units, and I thought, let's continue in that way, and maybe in the future I will rebuild the battalion.
You fought for another 2 weeks, and then more and more until there was the separation of forces with the Egyptians. And later on, you became a brigade commander in Operation Litani in 1978, and a division commander in Lebanon in the early 92, and then a bit later. But this was, being a battalion commander on the very first day of the Yom Kippur War, was the most traumatic experience.
No doubt.
Now, you were also promoted to higher positions as the Chief of Staff of the Northern Command and the Deputy Chief of the Planning Branch, and your final Brigadier General's position was in London. What was the most important lesson you can give us from these experiences?
Oh, the different fields.
But we only have 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Always do what you think is the right way to do, because you mentioned some different kind of jobs that I made in different situations, and always you have to use your mind and to find what is the best way to do what you are doing.
But promotion to Major General has a lot of politics, some organizational politics, some other considerations. And even though you were promised to be promoted, the officers who made the promises couldn't deliver. So what is the lesson from that?
It happened sometime you are sure that something will happen, and somehow no. But no hard feeling, you know.
But you enjoyed your time in London. We have your book, Closing Circles in London. You had a letterhead or a visit card printed regarding the empire of Netanya, your hometown, as a joke?
Yes, I had some argument with a very senior officer in the general headquarters in London, British. And we didn't speak even after that. Some clashes. And he wrote me some letter. I replied back, and I wrote General Yom-Tov Tamir.
Officer,
no, O-N-E. And
because senior British officers are knighted officer British Empire or knight commander and so on.
Order of British Empire, OBE. And my secretary said, "What is ONE?" I said, "Print it like that. That all." And I knew what I'm doing. After a few days, his secretary called my secretary, said,
Herr General.
The British general wants me to invite Yom Tov to dinner. What time? They opened the schedule and found a day, and they said, "And can I ask him what is the ONE stand for?" My secretary said, I don't know, but I think it's top secret because he doesn't want to speak about it. And it was the dinner. After 5 minutes, we became friends from the call that we had before. I said, "Yom Tov, what is ONE stand for?" I said, "You remember where I'm from?" He said, "You are from Israel." "Yes." No. One day I told you exactly in Israel where I'm from. He said, "Oh, Netanya." I said, "Okay, this is the order of Netanya Empire."
Retired Brigadier General, decorated combat officer, Yom-Tov Tamir, officer of the Order of Netanya Empire. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.